Exercise 4, tour data. For this exercise, we're going to fill in these columns based on the tour code which is booked by this student from this agent. Now, where do we find the information? Well, we have another worksheet called lookup tables in our workbook. So if you go over to this worksheet, you will see that we have a table here which lets us search for the tour code in the first column over here. And if we find a match, then we can get the tour description, departure, or the base cost. So let's go ahead and do it. The function we're going to use is called VLOOKUP, V for vertical, because our values are in the first column of our lookup table. And so the first argument for VLOOKUP is the value that we're searching for, and that's in C13, comma. The second argument is the table where we are looking for this value in the first column. And that table array is D2 colon G9 of the lookup tables worksheet, comma. Now, if we find a match in the first column of this table, we want the tour description, which is in the second column of this table. So the column index number is 2, comma. And the fourth argument is either true or false. Now, in this example, we want our lookup value to match exactly with any value here in the first column of our lookup table. Otherwise, we do not have a match. So we're looking for an exact match. And so let's choose false. And we press enter. And you'll see that the result is check out the Czech Republic for tour code 20. And that's correct. Right? So now we can copy this all the way to the last row after we convert this to a absolute reference. Okay, now for departure date, it's going to be the same as this first VLOOKUP. It's just that the column index number is going to be column number 3 because departure date is in the third column of this table array. And we also want an exact match because we want our tour code to match exactly with the package numbers here. Okay, now the answer is showing up as 42,525 because it doesn't have a format. It's currently general, so we just switch to a date format, which suits our locale. Okay, so now we can convert this into an absolute reference. And copy it to the other rows. For the base cost of the trip, same function. We need a VLOOKUP. Same table array. The column index number of base cost is 4. And we also want an exact match, which is a false. And we will convert this into an absolute reference. And use the comma style to format the base costs. The next column is total cost with taxes and fees. Now, the percentage for taxes and fees is up here in B5. So we need that for this formula. So we have two possible options. The first option to write this formula is base cost of trip plus base cost of trip times the percentage for taxes and fees. So that's the answer there. Or we can simply do base cost times 100%, 1, plus the percentage for taxes and fees. So this will work too, and it will give you the same answer. So I'm just going to use this one. Just convert this to an absolute reference. and then copy it to the rest of the rows. Now the last column is the commission that will be paid for this travel agent who made this booking. And for the agent commission, the basis of the commission, if you switch to the lookup tables worksheet, the commission is calculated based on the price of the tour, and the commission is in the second column of the table. One other thing to note is that we have some packages like Tour 50 where the base cost is not exactly equal to any of the values in the first column, but it falls in between. So like 1,769 is less than 1,799 but greater than 1,749. So in this case, the agent will get the 3% commission. So now we need a VLOOKUP which doesn't just look for an exact match, but can also look for an approximate match where we get the nearest match, which is less than the value we're looking for. So we are okay with less than if we can find an equal to. So it's basically a less than or equal to. And in that case, we need our fourth argument in the VLOOKUP to be an approximate match. So let's go ahead and try that now. So VLOOKUP of the trip, that's our lookup value, and this is our table array, and our result, if there's a match, is in the second column, and we want an approximate match. Press enter. Okay, and so the result for this base cost of 1,799 is 3.5%. So we'll convert that using the percent style, and we increase the decimal place to 1 decimal place. And we'll convert this to an absolute reference and copy it to the other rows. Now you will see that one of the rows is showing an error code NA, which means not found. So that means this base cost of 1,599 did not have a match. And if you look at the table array, you'll see that 1,599, okay, is less than the minimum price to get a commission. So that means at the very least, the tour package should be worth 1,699 or above to get a commission. But since the price of this tour is 1,599, then it's not entitled to any commission, and that's why VLOOKUP did not find a match. But it doesn't look nice to show the error code like this, so we can rewrite the VLOOKUP so that if the VLOOKUP returns an error code, we would like to see 0% instead of NA or whatever the error code is. So let's use another function called if error. Okay, we can select it here, if error. If error accepts two arguments. The first argument is the value that we are checking to see if it's an error code, and in this case that value will be returned by the VLOOKUP function. If it is an error code, then we want if error to return the second argument, which is 0%. Okay. So the way you read this function is, if this value is error, then show me 0%. If it is not an error, then show me the result of this function. Now let's copy this, and you'll see that instead of an NA error code, it now shows 0%. So there you have it. This is exercise 4 TourData, and we used VLOOKUP to fill in all this information, and this one is a formula based on the taxes and fees up here.